Talking Carolina with the matchup in Miami against the Canes, which is typically in recent seasons been billed as the game in the Coastal Division in the offseason, and not necessarily shaping up that way, but still an important one for a team that's undefeated in the ACC after a win against Virginia Tech by 31 points. We got Ross Martin on the line from Inside Carolina. Please like the video. Check out Ross's work there at Inside Carolina as well. Ross, what's going on today?
Hey, Mark, pretty good. Just getting ready for Miami and doing all the preview stuff. And we wrapped up press conferences today with Max Wednesday morning availability. And we're kind of now all arrows point towards Miami Gardens, getting down there on Friday. Very pumped to be down there and cover a game in the Sunshine State.
So in what was statistically a good effort on the defensive side against Virginia Tech, and obviously they've had their struggles, and shoot, they might be vying for worst team in the ACC this year. Do you take anything away from an effort that produces 10 points on the board for the Hokies?
Yeah, I mean, I don't think Virginia is going to end up as one of the more talented teams in the conference. I think they're not very good. So I think anything, it's confidence, it's momentum, it's seeing things work out. The defense was, put through the ringer after Notre Dame. I mean, the whole week was just kind of on edge because of how bad they were against the Irish. And look, they played well against Virginia Tech. They fixed a lot of issues in terms of they stopped the run. They only allowed 10 points. They shut Hokies out in the second half. They forced a turnover that led directly to points. So on paper and in the box score, like you said, the defense performed well. I don't really take much from that game moving forward. I want to see it again against Miami. I want to see it again against Duke, which might end up being one of the better teams in the Coastal. And after those two games, I think we'll have a better idea of what this defense really is. Now, I don't think they have to be that good for UNC to keep winning with Drake May at quarterback. But hopefully for UNC fans, Virginia Tech game is just a confidence booster for that unit. Get morale up, kind of see things work that they executed from practice to the game, and see things kind of be successful. See how communication works. See how, when you do this right, you get this result. And I think that's good for a defense that's still a little bit young and still getting used to Gene Chizik's system and how kind of things work under Chizik there in Chapel Hill.
Yeah, so how are things supposed to work under Gene Chizik? He was brought in to, of course, fix the defense, not exasperate the issues. So is there anything special about his defense that makes it difficult to learn, or what are the nuances there that are being talked about?
Yeah, it's pretty simple. That's what we heard in the offseason. It's very simple. It's not crazy with exotic blitzes and packages like it was under Jay Bateman. It's kind of that bend, don't break defense, keep everything in front of you. Try to get pressure with 4, drop 7, play off a little bit and then just be very fundamentally sound, tackle, cover, try to get a little pressure from the ends. Stop the run, just basic 4-3 fundamentals. And they have a dime package, of course. And just the issue has been just fundamentals and knowing where you need to be, missed tackles, gap assignments, communication issues in the secondary, with different zone schemes they run with the cornerbacks and the safeties. So that's been the issue, just kind of the basic kind of things you would hope were wrinkled out in the spring, ironed out in the spring. And in the preseason, but it was kind of back to basics in that bye week, and then back to basics again after Notre Dame to try to figure out the issues.
We've got Ross Martin on the line. You can catch his work at InsideCarolina.com. Check out his prep on UNC taking on Miami. Big game in the Coastal Division coming up Saturday. One other question on the defense would be: this has been a side of the ball that's been recruited well. So who's supposed to be stepping up? Who's supposed to be? Where are the playmakers supposed to be for this defense?
Yeah, I mean, that's what we asked them. We were like, man, Mac, y'all recruited so well. Like, why isn't that talent translating on the field? But a lot of the high-end talent are young. The 4 and 5 stars are first-year and second-year players. They do have some talented juniors, Tony Grimes, Desmond Evans, players like that. I would say the talent is supposed to be on the defensive line with Javari Ritzie, Miles Murphy, Desmond Evans. They have a transfer defensive end. He's called the jack position, Noah Taylor, who's been pretty good. That's where the talent's supposed to be. And on the edges with a cornerback with Storm Duck, who's been at UNC now for 3-4 years, and Tony Grimes, who's a junior. Like, he's a 5-star guy, supposed to be an NFL prospect stud. That's what the talent's supposed to be. But really, I mean, the best players are at linebacker. Cedric Gray has been pretty solid, 2 interceptions, leads the ACC in tackles. Power Eccles, though he's undersized, and that kind of shows up. He's been a pretty good tackler for UNC. He's not that great in pass coverage. He's a little undersized when the run game comes at him. But I think Cedric Gray is the best player, I think, right now. And they're Ravo Hasek in the middle, the transfer from Illinois, a junior college in Illinois. He's been at UNC now for, I think, 3 years, maybe 4 years. He's been pretty solid in the middle at nose tackle. So those are guys to know. And they're hoping to get Miles Murphy back healthy. But Ravo Hasek, Noah Taylor, and then Cedric Gray are kind of the stars on defense right now.
Folks, please like the video and share these videos out on social media. Subscribe right here at the Voice of College Football. Check out Ross's work at InsideCarolina.com. All right, to the guy that everybody knows in the college football world. So Drake May's tearing it up, both running and throwing. Had 13 runs this past weekend against Virginia Tech, 2 touchdowns. If they do anything in regards to vying for an ACC championship, getting to the title game, he could possibly find himself in the Heisman race. Your thoughts about everything that he's getting done at this point?
Yeah, he's been fantastic. Miami will be his 6th game as a starter. And he leads the nation, tied with 19 passing touchdowns, 22 total touchdowns, 22 touchdowns across 5 games, the most ever for a UNC player in program history. He's 6'5", can read the whole field, can make pretty much every throw. Different than Sam. Sam was a 6'1" guy. 6'5", you can see everything, and that kind of shows up. He can go through his progressions. He hits 8 or 9 pass catchers per game, spreads the ball around. He kind of picks his spots, takes what the defense gives him. He really likes his tight ends. He likes Josh Downs since he's been back, Antoine Green, and then he can run the ball. I mean, Drake can get out, get you a first down if he needs to, design runs. He can break it off for anywhere from 8 to 15 to 20 yards if that is the play, and that's kind of how it's blocked up. So he's athletic. He's not some burner. He's not Lamar Jackson, but he's got some wheels. He's got some athleticism. It's a very athletic family he comes from. And, he's a leader, but he's young still. You're going to see a couple mistakes here and there. He's not been the best under pressure, but he can move in the pocket. And, look, he is that ideal quarterback size. He can play in the pocket. He has a little bit of mobility, which NFL guys like. And you're right, man. The ACC Coastal, UNC could rip off a couple wins here. They do have Wake and NC State on the schedule, but who knows, man? If they're 5-1 going into Duke, 6-1 after that. They have Pitt 7-1. And his stats, I don't see it slowing down. I think he's still going to be a 250 to 350 yard guy through the air, couple touchdowns, couple 25 to 50 rushing yards and a touchdown on the ground. I don't see the offense slowing down from his production, because he might have to go out and win some games with UNC's defense, and they're going to rely on him to score, and they can score fast. There's no issues with scoring under Mac Brown here and Phil Longo. They've been pretty consistently good across the last 3 seasons, and much of that is because of the quarterback, but also because of Phil Longo's system.
Yeah, so this may be the first time I see North Carolina play start to finish the entire season. Saw some plays against Virginia Tech, once things got heated up against App State, I think most of the nation at some point wanted to check in to see what the heck was going on there, and Notre Dame as well. 41 throws in a game that you win by 31 against 32 runs, so they're still pretty heavy on the pass versus run. What do they want to accomplish there? I see Omarion Hampton leads the rushers. Is he generally the main guy?
Yeah, and I just wrote on this today. They're trying to figure it out. I think they started Caleb Hood against Virginia Tech in both halves. That doesn't really mean much from the running back spot, but they like Hampton and like Hood. They're trying to get more consistency. These are young guys. I think it's a combination of just, the offensive line hasn't been, they've been average to above average in run blocking. They aren't excellent. And you have running backs that are new to the college game. Marion Hampton's a true freshman who arrived in June. They love his talent, but they just want more from those guys on first and second down. They need that kind of 4, 5, 6 yard gains instead of the 1 or 2 or even negative yard gains. They do break off some big runs, but Mac Brown and Phil Longo say, like, look, we need consistency from that group. We need 5 yards, 6 yards when they rush. We don't need the 1 or 2 yards. Like, that doesn't help us because that leaves them in third and long. So I think the running game is the one weakness of the offense right now. I mean, it's forced Drake May into some third and longs and even fourth and longs. And UNC is 9 for 11 on fourth down. So they're willing to go for it there, but it's not as balanced as I think Mac Brown and Phil Longo would like.
Ross, on the Miami side forever, it seems. And then on the North Carolina side, certainly since Mac Brown stepped on campus and got things straightened out, these have been the two teams that most people year to year expect to play for the Coastal Division. It hasn't necessarily worked out that way. What's your picture from afar and more? I'm sure this week you've got more acquainted with Miami and some of their issues, but from a talent perspective, these should be the two teams.
Yeah, I mean, I think everybody in the ACC is just waiting for, at some point, Miami to break out. And they've gotten close. They've been okay some years, but the 2001 team, like, that's what I think the ACC commissioner had in mind when they brought Miami into the fold. They just haven't been consistently good, despite the talent. They've gone through some coaching changes for sure. And, this matchup, you would think the talent, I think Crystal Ball is going to get it rolling in terms of recruiting. He's known as a recruiter. If you can recruit to Oregon, even though they have all that Nike money, it's still pretty tough to get kids to go to Oregon. But when you're right there in Miami, one of the most fertile recruiting grounds in the country, he should be able to get things going. So I think Crystal Ball to Miami is a great fit. But on paper right now, not on paper, just like they haven't been that good. The offense has struggled in losing to Middle Tennessee State. They have a little quarterback situation. We'll see how that shakes out against UNC. Obviously, Tyler Van Dyke is a starter, but if he throws another interception or he doesn't look as good, they do have a pretty good backup in Garcia, who's already kind of showed the fan base what he can be. So I'm picking UNC. I think there's a little growing pains on a new staff, a new system with 2 new coordinators. So I don't think things are running as smoothly as many would have liked down in Coral Gables. But it should be a good, interesting matchup. I think Miami's favored, which is very interesting. I think they're a 4.5 favorite last time I looked. But I think with Drake May, UNC has a better quarterback right now. And I think we have the better quarterback and everything else is fairly equal. I would pick the Tar Heels, even though if Miami can run the ball, I'm not sure how successful they've been. I know they do have some athletes at running back. If they can run the ball, UNC has had trouble stopping the run. So that'd be the one concern, I think, for the Tar Heels.
Ross Martin, Inside Carolina, get on over there, check out his work, and get yourself prepped for UNC at Miami. Ross, always appreciate you stopping by. Enjoy the game.
All right, thanks, man. I appreciate it. I appreciate having you on.